Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob. I am in my Extreme Studios with RDV from the Great Midwest Online with me tonight. I'm, of course, just west of Orlando, Florida, in the Pinos Palace. And I apologize for starting the stream a little bit late, RDV, but I was looking for the missing link, and I'm glad I found it because that's the movie we're talking about tonight from 1986 with Elisabeth Shue and General Zod. Now, RDV, you know I'm a big fan of when animals attack movies. Godzilla is like an icon to me. Shockma is probably the greatest out of all of them, despite Piranha and Jaws and all these other great films. But now we get one where they use actual friggin' chimps and orangutans.
Real ones, too.
I love this film. This is a lot of fun. I had not seen this. I remember sort of hearing about it at the time. I can't believe this is going to be a first watch for both of us, and we're going to talk about an 80s film that's actually pretty damn good. What's your initial take on this film?
Initial take on this film, it was Elisabeth Shue naked in here, and they got a monkey that's going around killing people. Yes. I was like, what's not to like, you know?
A pyromaniac, if you will.
And then you have Zod. I've never seen him outside of Superman 2.
Me either. That's the beauty of it.
That was like Terrance Stamp. You see him, he's got this little house, you know, in somewhere out of London, outside of London.
Oh, no. Scotland, sir. I
looked it up. Scotland? Okay, you looked it up. Okay,
beautiful.
And it's a beautiful mansion, old school Victorian mansion. It's on the cliff shore, you know, right there at the edge, and just crazy, man. Here's the one thing I love when you have a movie that takes place in a setting like this. It's so remote. They even make the mention in the movie that's how remote it is. It's a 4-hour drive, you know, or something like that, you know, just to get out there. And you got this college girl of America who basically talks about how her parents were married and all that stuff. She, you know, doesn't like her stepdad, so she's always been on her own. Decided to go to college, and then because she needs funds, talks to the doctor, who seems almost like she has an infatuation with a little bit.
It is. It's infatuation, not necessarily sexual, but it's yeah, you know, because she doesn't actually like become like an expert or look at something totally different the way that the guys, you know, in all of his research. She's just sort of like there as like a babysitter.
But I just the suspense in this, the music, everything about the house, and you know, when you learn there's a trap door that goes out to like this little cave that goes out to like the cliff, you know, by the bluffs and stuff. You know, the very beginning of this movie, the little girl in her bed, and she hears, you know, all you see is you don't see anything, you know, all you see is from the point of view, like the first person point of view, and you see this cat climbing up this lattice, going up to the roof of this house. And it's being chased by something. And something's climbing up, it's going, and you're like, oh crap. Like, is that Link or who is this? We don't know which one it is, you know? And it gets up, and then, well, then you see the kind of cat kind of walking up there. The girl hears something on the roof, you know. The parents are watching some old, you know, black and white movie with, you know, the dancing. And cat goes over to where they have like a little on a cage. They have like for their pigeons that they're raising, the people, and you're like, okay, the cat's gonna go get some pigeons, but then the little girl hears like, "Meow!" She screams. The parents come in, and I love it because back in the day, because they're watching TV, so he comes to check his antenna. He's like, cable. He's like, loose cable, you know. And they go in the room, and then he also hears something up there because next they show all the dead pigeons. The door's busted. And as he's going, I'm like, you fucker, don't show the cat. Then it shows the cat dead. I was like, no. But yeah, then we're introduced to like Elisabeth Shue and all stuff. But like the opening is just fun. The music, the suspense.
It felt like a good gambit. Like you knew what kind of movie you're getting yourself into, right?
Didn't it feel like Dark Passage a little bit? Because you don't see the person.
Well, turns out not to be a person, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You don't know who it is at first.
It's Predator Vision point of view, which at the time had only really been popularized by Halloween, so it's still relatively fresh, and I think in viewers' minds. Yeah. So the whole thing is it's filmed, like I say, out in Scotland. So Elisabeth Shue, we see her in London College, and it was. This sounds really dumb, but I'll just give it to you to have a dumb point over me. Yeah. When you see this beautiful college campus, and it's somewhere in London, whatever, London City College, Technical College, whatever the hell they call it. Yeah. And they have a nice top-down shot of her like cutting across the courtyard and all that. And it's the winterish time or springish, where everything's not in bloom yet. And I remember seeing one tree in there was really big and it was dead, and that bugged me because the print I saw was a Blu-ray print. Fucking fantastic. This is a very good-looking film just to visually watch, especially the house on the hill and all the natural shots. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, Elisabeth Shue gets hired because she wants to work with this professor. This professor does research, and the whole idea of the research he does with chimpanzees is that Jane Goodall or whatever who did all that shit. He basically was like, yeah, I'm doing her stuff, but I'm the next person doing it. But he's not an egomaniac. He just has a small remote place. He hires her to do stuff around the house, and she starts learning stuff. And he buys and sells some of these things and all that too. So you're like, oh, this might be interesting. Does he train them to kill people or something stupid? And then he's basically telling her after he meets her, he's basically telling us, the audience, as he's telling her, hey, you have to be very dominant of this one, but always forgive them if they do something bad. You can't do this or do that. So the psychology of what they are is important to set up the ground rules for us as watchers to know it, because there's three of the chimps here. When she goes to his house, she's met at the door by the butler, and the butler takes
Don't even show his face.
upstairs,
I love it.
and it's the actual that one is the main guy.
It's Link.
And he's the
orangutan.
He's the pyromaniac, because when he was rescued, he was like he's 45 years old. He would light fire stuff in that. And then there's Imp or whatever.
Imp is the new one that she saw at the university he was working with.
The new one that she liked, and then there's the other one, which is Voodoo, right?
Angry.
So Voodoo, unfortunately, we don't get to see too much of, because what happens is he basically goes to sell one of them, and he basically goes to put it, sedate it, and then he kind of disappears. The guy shows up, and just this is when the mayhem happens, and it's just tremendous, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is fun.
So he does. So before he disappears, well, he's working in the lab, and one day, and then he's in there with he's got Link. Voodoo's in a cage. He's also got he's working with Imp, and Imp is just kind of like acting up, and like at this point, like they're all making noise. I'm like, are they communicating? What's going on here? And then she brings the tray, and then because she gets in the way, and then it gets spilled over, he gets mad and he yells at her, "Don't come in here!" It's like, you already told her, quit interrupting me, quit bringing stuff in here. This is a place of dominance, and you're bringing in, it's messing up. And I could tell, and my biggest fear at this movie is that bringing her into this is what changed the dynamic, because you're bringing a female in, and she's young, and
I think that's an interesting point, but do you think that happened?
I think so. I think that's what it is, because we see later on, we see Link when she comes in the bathroom when she's ready to go take a bath, and he's just staring at her. And he's kind of like lusting at her, kind of leering at her.
That's
and he mentioned before when she brought in she came in when she first arrived, and skirt. He says she's like it's like hey, wear jeans. He's like because little Imp went to go touch her. He's like no, he wasn't trying to show anywhere. He was trying to look up your skirt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so the pheromones, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, so basically he's in the lab with all of them. She drops the tray, he kicks her out, he locks the door behind him. But then as he's chasing Imp around, and Imp's like kind of going crazy. Like, what's wrong with Imp? Is he scared or whatever? And he does that. Link, without the doctor noticing, goes over, releases Voodoo from the cage. Voodoo gets out, and the next thing you know, he's like, it's like, oh shit, smart girl. Raptors.
Yep.
Because then we never see him again, not until much later. Well, actually, we don't see his body at all ever.
No, we do.
I don't remember. I remember seeing the other guy, but I don't see his body. I see his car in the ravine.
Oh yeah. Well, we see his body a little bit later. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they show us.
Yeah, that's the one thing I remember seeing his body. I remember seeing the guy who was there, because originally he was going to sell Link or put Link down and sell Voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
And Link, being a smart boy, kind of figured it out. Well, I don't think he even knew they was going to put him down, but he didn't like the fact that he's aggressive. As they get older, it's eventually with all chimps and stuff.
Yep,
they become, you cannot control them. And at this point, well, Link is pretty much at that point. He was a former circus monkey. He was his first monkey that he used, trained with, but like you said, he's no longer useful to me anymore. And that's why he got Imp, because he was so basically like Link feels resented. Oh, Daddy don't love me, so he's gonna start murdering people a little much, and that's kind of the movie. It's just her trying to deal with this, and it is disturbing, because the way they make this movie is kind of like well, you got Everett Roche, who basically worked with I think it was Psycho 2. He was on there with Richard Franklin. Or at least one of them was.
Mhm.
And you could see it's kind of like an Alfred Hitchcock movie in a sense, but not too much like Psycho 2. But in the sense they're in this house, this woman's being stalked, and she has to try to survive.
Well, one of the things that it's beautifully set up because we see the drive up there with the taxi guy, and he says something about the dogs out there, and if you need a taxi, here I am. Of course, this is in the mid-'80s,
shoot
so
you
there's
on
no
side
cell
farmers,
phone,
yeah.
and it's beautiful. You see a fence
Oh,
there,
yeah.
with, like a
Mesh
fence
fence
to it or whatever,
and destroyed, yeah.
And it overlooks a cliff face. It's really quite
Mhm.
romantic in the traditional English sense. And I think the thing about it is when Zod disappears and the guy comes to collect, she's like, well, such and such is dead. And we find this out because the movie is her and Link. It really is. And it's their interface with each other because it's a cat and mouse game, literally. What happens is with the three of them there, the chimps are in 3 different stages of life, and they have different personalities. But this guy shows up and he's dressed in human clothes like a butler, takes stuff up. He's watching her undress and take it. And the beauty of this film is this guy actually trained them all to do this. So this is all real stuff. So the looks, it's just like that magic, like the timing or chemistry you have with somebody on screen, like say in comedy, that makes this movie worth watching, because we find out something's not right when she can't really find the doctor and all that. And the little one is like, is like, okay, I'll get you a treat. And he's pointing to the big cupboard, right? So she pulls out the small drawer, and he's like putting his chip hands over his eyes, like, oh, you're stupid. No. And he points higher and all that. Oh, this one?
Yeah.
You want this? Like the banana?
Yeah.
No, point this one. So rules of 3 in movies. She opens up the third one, and then Voodoo's body just falls out because it's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting about Link was supposed to be a chimpanzee, 45-year-old chimpanzee, but because, they couldn't get one, the role was given to Locke, who was orangutan, and they dyed his hair darker, gave him prosthetic ears.
Yep.
To make him look like a chimpanzee. He was trained by the legendary animal trainer Ray Berwick.
The guy that did the birds, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Carrie plays Voodoo. She's a female chimpanzee, often caged for aggressive nature, but occasionally let loose. It's one of the few times that a full-grown chimpanzee was ever used in a film.
Yeah.
Is that, because they normally don't do that because, like I said, they're dangerous stuff. And then, yeah. And then you have Imp, who pretty much is a perfect name for him because he likes to get out, likes to eat birds, cats, and sheep. That was the fence.
Well, and it's not the guy's necessarily evil, the doctor. It's just the movie turns into where it literally is just about her surviving. And what was interesting is because as she's learning the interaction between them on her own, we're learning that with her. And so there's that sense of dread. And when the guy comes up to basically say, hey, I'm here for the pickup. I got the clients. I need a da-da-da.
And then she gets her whole stupid feminine way.
Well, she's not going to let this guy take it on her own. And I, in a way, I can understand it. I don't have a problem with it. But what was cool is all of a sudden you go, wait a minute. Is she going to become the man of the house here? Because what happens is the chimps seem to like see her as the alpha now. So when a guy goes to get in his car, the chimp basically like lifts it up and they're bashing the windows and all that. And he's freaking out. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Not bad. Link was jealous. Link saw his possible mate in trouble because this guy was trying to come on. Oh, the doctor keeps up here to herself. Is that why you're up here?
Yeah,
because
he gets a little handsy with
because
her.
She tries to be she's a PETA person. It's very clear from the beginning when she comes in stuff, and even Terrance Stamp's character has to tell her, it's like, no, I'm mean to them because imagine a baby who's 8 times your strength stronger than you, know, and you can't just treat them as docile. You have to be firm. But you said when you're, you always say you forgive them so they don't hold a grudge.
Yes.
And she keeps trying to baby Imp and all that stuff. And of course, Link is getting jealous, because he does not like Imp. He's being replaced. He got rid of the doctor because the doctor pretty much was going to get rid of him, and he wants her. And he got rid of, it's just like, so it's. Yeah, it's crazy.
You'll be mine. I'll just kill everybody else around you till you're mine.
So originally, the role of Stephen Phillip, played by Terrance Stamp, get this, was supposed to be advised for Richard Burton. But then, they didn't want it, so they offered to Albert Finney, who said no. Anthony Perkins was also offered the role. Christopher Plummer, and Anthony Hopkins, and they all turned it down. And that's how Terrance Stamp got the role.
Hey, all actors we like, they've all done a great
Yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah. And then Mr. Bailey, where he's the one that was originally told he was friend who was supposed to go with them, supposed to come over and put down Link and then take Voodoo to be sold to, and yeah, I didn't like Bailey at first, but he was there on legitimate reason, and she's like, "You're gonna get rid of? Oh no, you're not." It's like, dude, you're not in charge. You know? Yeah, I just didn't care for her character a little bit in the beginning, especially that part. So, but anyway, I excuse it because she's an idiot.
This is a young idealistic
She's
college,
yes,
student
who
in a foreign
couldn't
country.
who fled to like Europe, because she couldn't deal with her life at home. So she's
Well, I thought if they treated it more an adult way, because they make a big showing of the guys that we're introduced to early on. One of them is her
her
boyfriend.
boyfriend, yeah,
He
and then
tells the professor, yeah, it's really nothing serious or whatever. It's only been a few months and all that too. And she's able to somehow call them, and eventually they come up only to get like slaughtered, kind of, sort of. But to add some more bodies to the black.
it's kind of funny that she found a second phone because Link burned the first one, the microwave.
Yeah, exactly, because that's when it starts getting interesting, because you're like, wait a minute, she goes to make a call. Hey, the cord's been ripped out, right? The landline. And one of the best scenes to me is when she goes outside and she sees, we get the lay of the land, right? Because like this is a
Yes.
movie where the environment is a character, if you will. So
Mhm.
there's the play area on the outside, and the first time he actually meets Zod, he's like, "Oh, I'm surprised he lets you in here without da da da
Yeah.
da da." Very territorial and all that. But we see like the play area and all that stuff there, and the swinging bars and everything. But when she goes out there and all that, and he's just sitting there on top of the, Indian legs crossed over like that, staring at her, I'm like, "Fuck, that's a good scene."
Yep.
This is the kind of stuff that sounds hokey, and it is, because it's not really a terrifying movie,
Mhm.
but the idea of it and seeing it with the real animals in it is fucking cool. Like, I'm a big believer in try to go as real as possible. I know you prefer that too, right?
Yeah.
So there was a movie called Kingdom of Spiders with William Shatner in it, where they used
Yep.
mostly
Reviewed
real
that.
tarantulas. Yeah. And so even when you see them moving around, even though they're not going to bite anybody or like that, they're just like in the grass crawling around. It's creepy. It feels good. That's just some of the pure joys I get out of these kind of movies. And I got to tell you, from the get go, seeing Shue, and I think there's a lot has to be said for the editing of it, where the chemistry of capturing the expression on these animals' faces when something is going on, putting that together where it's believable with the cutting and back and forth is really important. Because at the end, when she tries to escape, there's those damned stray dogs that are like friggin', can't let her go, like the hunting dogs, or like that, like the Cujos or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So one starts chasing her, and she goes to that fence we saw at the beginning. We're like, okay, that's good storytelling. Show us what you're going to show us, what she'll be involved in later. And she goes to climb up the fence, and because she belongs to him, what does he do? He tackles the dog, takes the dog, and just swings it in the fence and beats the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad shit. I'm sorry, but I thought that was
Yeah.
funny, and I do not
So
advocate dog violence.
so I was looking up the boyfriend David O'Hara and what movies she's like what movies he's recently been in. The last one we actually reviewed a movie he was in. It was Horizon American Saga. He was in there. So the guy's still acting. He's 60 something years old, 61, 62 around there.
Right.
So he's not that old, because look at Elizabeth Shue's kind of around that age as well. But yeah, it's like, you had we said like a lot of these actors are pretty much older ones, like Joe Beckler, or he was the taxi driver. He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Lloyd, who played Bailey, I'm pretty sure he's probably gone too. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I said, like seeing these monkeys, and they're not puppets. They're actually like doing stunts and everything.
Yeah.
Like when obviously she finds her boyfriend, he's got his legs broken. They go into the safe room, the vault, they close there, and then so what does Link do? He's like, yeah, you think you escape from me? Runs around, goes up on top of the skylight.
He's looking through the skylight at him. That's so funny.
And I love when he fell, he's like, oh shit. And they close the door behind and lock it. But she found out that he was so smart. He was, because remember when we first introduced him, he was playing the recorder with the Terrance
That's
Stamp's
the beauty of it, right? I did not see that one coming.
So when he went after they killed Link killed him himself, the Terrance Stamp's character, she was told, she goes to the lab. He's like, hey, So he's like, go away, I'm busy right now. And it's like, and it turns out when she finally gets in there to hide from Link, that they actually that tape in there, she was playing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, he actually did, and like he, so it was Link the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said I don't freaking. Here's my other thing too is like, they only have the shotguns, pump gauge, or not a pump gauge, or these are just full open, and then you load the barrels up, and that's it. There isn't no handguns, which I was interesting. We see Terrance Stamp with a gun. Phillip has his own gun in the beginning.
Yeah.
We see Voodoo's on top of the roof, and he shakes points, and he's like, "Oh, get down!" It's like,
Mm-hmm.
And then the other guy we see with a gun is, the guy Bailey comes over. He's gonna put a tranq dart in there, but because she gets involved, that causes him to try to, he has to hide inside his van and all stuff, and the imp was letting the air on his tire, so he just basically drives away. So I love it when she realizes that everything's missing stuff. She follows, and she sees him, his van out there, and she's like, "Okay, where's the van?" It's like he's always in there. It's deserted. The radio's on. She goes in there, and she's like, "Okay," because you know how you want to start the van up, because you remember back then you could just push down a hill and then you could turn it over.
Yeah, if you push a manual one down a hill, you could pop the clutch and get it started.
Yeah, so that's what they do. But the problem is though what's his name?
Michael Myers.
Yeah, he should basically Link basically keeps pushing towards the cliff, and she just jump out, and then it goes over the cliff, and that's when she notices that Dr. Phillips' car is down there, which she thought was missing, that he left, and she goes explore down there later on. Look in there, because now the water's receded back, because the tide is gone.
Mm-hmm.
She goes down there with Imp. And and she's kind of like sliding down. Well, first she's calm down, then she slides. Only after, and then she looks over and she sees, there's Mr. Bailey's corpse falls out of the bushes there. She freaks out, and then she goes and looks inside, and they don't show Philip's body at all inside the car. So they're like, where's his body?
Mm-hmm.
So and it's like the mystery comes where. See, we know he's dead. I'm like, where's the body?
Bury the body.
Yeah, where's the body? And we know that Link, because he said he's the master of fire, that was trained with his circus thing.
Yeah,
we caught. He was like gonna cook. She first comes across him when he has problems is that he's got the stove open, and he's got the gas on, and he's kind of light a match, and she quick runs down in the crawl space, turns the valve off, and she does bad. So then she goes in the room in there, and she finds out he has a whole thing, communication buttons. So she does the code stuff, and he's like, cook, he's like, and she's like, no, I'm gonna call, and he grabs the phone on her and tries to pull the phone away. So then she gets distracted and thinks, the phone's in the microwave. I said, like, this little guy does not want her to leave whatsoever.
No, this was tremendous.
And it kind of felt like a mixture between Jaws and Psycho.
Yeah,
the way this is done.
I almost thought. Tell me if this is a reach. I almost thought instead of those movies, I almost thought it was more like Misery.
True. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, because anybody comes in, we're gonna kill them because they're not allowed to leave.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna let you go.
But as far as like I said, like I thought that Voodoo was gonna have a much bigger part. I didn't think that Link was just gonna be like, no one can have her. I thought like Voodoo was gonna like take taping with him and like just mauling people. But instead, when Voodoo fell out of the cage, the desk, in a drawer onto the ground, is just like, what the heck?
Well, it's pretty much like I say, cat and mouse, and there's a little bit of action. They save a lot up for the end. So to me, the thrilling parts of some of these scenes are really cool and special. At the end, it's long enough, big enough, and okay enough where you're like, okay, that's fine. The trio of boyfriends or friends come up there, and
one gets pushed on the well.
Yeah, which is fun because we don't like these guys. They're dipshits. We want to see them anyway. Right?
The boyfriend, he has a broken leg when she finds him.
Right.
She drags him in there, and she gets a table leg and ties him like a little stint where he can help him. But then she's like, the only way to defeat Link, well, let's use his own smarts against him. Mm-hmm. They go into crawl space. She turns the valve back on, let the gas in, and then she locks the gate, the thing. So, and as Link's up there, he's like, Link, he's like, He's like, Link, apes are stupid, and I was like, they're not supposed to smoke, they're supposed to dress and all that stuff,
Because he's dressed up lighting cigars. It's fucking tremendous.
So she plays on his psyche. So he's like, oh, I can't tell what to do. So he goes.
I'm gonna kill you. Let me go light a cigar first.
He goes light, and it's the most nerve wracking because they're in the cave passage, and there's waiting. And he's just like, one, fucker, the light, because they have a lighter. He just has a box of matches. So it's like, you know how impossible it is when you destroy that thing on the side.
Yep.
So he finally gets one. He's like, lights a cigar. Boom, gets knocked back. But he's not dead, though.
Of course not.
No.
You cannot kill an ape by fire alone.
No, so he gets up, he looks around, he starts climbing the ceiling, and then he gets up to the bird nest, in the crow's nest, where she was before with the binoculars looking around.
It's fucking King Kong.
He's up there, he's like, Roar! And then the roof caves in, and he falls, and you see him go into the flames. And then she takes the car with the boyfriend, and they leave. And I was just like, damn, that's it?
Yeah.
There's no like, awesome
midnight,
like
bro. Boom.
There was no awesome end song like we got with My Bloody Valentine. I was like, I want something like that at least,
Well, it's a low film, right?
Didn't it feel like I just got done watching Halloween? Where's my killer soundtrack?
I'm just saying. Well, here's the thing. It's a super low budget. It was done very well. It was shot beautifully.
$6 million budget.
Yeah, I mean, these are kind of movies that can be done, be entertaining enough. It's a B film, let's be honest. Could have been written a bit smarter and stronger, perhaps, but why do we care? The whole purpose to see this is to see her interacting with those apes, and that's it, and that's fun. They don't make movies like that right now.
Yeah, it's a British film back in 1986, and it was brought over to the United States in October, because originally it came out debuted January and born in Britain. The film festival, or whatever. Then it debuted on October Halloween of 1986.
Yeah,
and it only made about a little bit over $1 million, almost $2 million. There's a bomb, but it's become kind of a cult classic almost in a sense. It's kind of funny.
Well, I really loved Shockma, which came out I think 1990, and I think part of that was filmed at the University of Central Florida in the Orlando area. May be wrong on that. Some people have told me that have worked on the film back in the day. And that one's actually terrifying with the baboon because they're fucking nuts. They really are. These guys we've seen, in different movies and television shows over the years. Stuff. So one thing was harmless. This movie does a very good job of conveying the fact that they're smart and they can fucking creep you out. So even though they do that and it's low budget, it works for what it is. I was entertained. This is a very pleasant surprise for me.
So did you know that the story that the screenplay adapted from was written by Lee David Zlotoff? You know what that is? He's the co-creator, or actually the creator of MacGyver. Also wrote for Hill Street Blues, and then became the producer of Remington Steel, 1982.
Well, that would explain the very simple, easy structure, right? Where everything is uniform. Like I say, you see her driving up there, the guy talking to it. Nothing is extra or useless or meaningless or sidebar. It all comes into play. And I'm not saying there's a ton of information because there's not. This is a movie you just sit and watch. There's not a lot of words in it.
Yep. Yeah, so he said the director, Richard Franklin, originally he was a fan of devotee of Alfred Hitchcock. And he had just before this did a Cycle 2. And he had mentioned about that movie. He said, dude, after filming it, I hesitated to like it to the birds because everyone will say, oh shit, he's doing Hitchcock again. Unlike the birds, which is a kind of fantasy, Link is an anthropological realities, calling it an anthropological thriller opposed to a psychological thriller, because it did really feel kind of like misery and a little bit of
it had some tension in there.
Yeah,
that's when it worked.
Yeah, just like the thing where she's in the bathroom and you see and she's in there. We get a nice full ass and a side boob. For those who are wondering, for those who are Mr. Skin fans, but anyway, just she's gonna take a bath. She goes to close the door. He puts his hand. He's like, no, I want to watch. And he opens the door, and she's like, gotta get a nerve because he's kind of staring at her with the lusty eyes. She grabs her robe, puts her robe on, pulls the drain. He's like, nope, not taking a bath.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that there was
her, and it's kind of creepy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I thought there was I was kind of shocked that there was no lock on the door.
Well,
that too. But
it's. They're not trying to imitate another movie, or I think steal a lot of scenes from others, but you've seen setups like this before. So again, it seems kind of familiar when you watch it. You'll understand it. It's not a deep film, but it's entertaining, and that's really what it comes down to. And
Yeah.
I appreciate it for what it was. It's definitely a very good looking film. Like I said, it's definitely a lot of positive reasons to watch a film like this, especially if you're an animal person like I am, and the lack of CGI and everything else there too, and everything. It's refreshing. It was refreshing to see that. You have a young Elisabeth Shue that, whether you think she can act or not, or she's hot or not, or whatever, it's all solid. It's hard for me to find a lot of flaws in here. You might think it was a little silly or goofy, but I think this is a movie that would probably been, if you're 10 years old, 12 years old, hadn't seen stuff like this before, you might find it a little bit kind of more scary than you and I would be. Do
you know
men,
this?
But still,
did you know that 10 years later this movie got rebooted?
No.
Yeah, they call it Dunstan. They call it Dunstan Checks In.
Had no idea.
I'm just
American
joking.
Eyes.
No, American Eyes. Dunstan Checks In was the kid in an orangutan in a hotel with Jason Alexander and stuff, trying to get the monkey out of there and stuff. So it was like they rebooted and made a friendly version.
That's oh boy. Yeah. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. It's a canon classic film. It just came out through canon. They distributed it, and then it's on the list. If you have never seen this movie, check it out. It's Elisabeth Shue, Terrance Stamp. Terrance Stamp is brilliant in this. I love him. I wish he had more screen time. He's a little bit eccentric, but he's also, you can see kind of the craziness of Zod, which is also in this character too. Yeah, it's goes out with a bang.
You sound like you had fun.
I had fun with this. It's just as much fun as Elisabeth Shue did.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with a film like this. It's lighthearted entertainment. It's got some. I think the movie's at its best when it's not doing the action stuff, when it's tense and stuff is setting
that was
up
Jerry
right?
Goldsmith, I think, is the guy who did the actual thing, the music. That's why it came so tense like that. Alrighty. Trying to find the thing for this Tuesday quickly.
Shall I talk about it while you find it?
Go ahead.
William Friedkin's The Sorcerer, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very good film, at least from what I can remember. I will watch it again, and it's going to be a first watch for you, RDV.
Oh, definitely a first watch for me.
So I watched The Exorcist. Check this movie out. It's something that we're going to be doing Tuesday, talking about it. It's when you start diving deep into certain things about movies, people will be like, "Oh, of course you got to do The Exorcist or Rosemary's Baby." But then when you go second level, some of these actors and directors, everyone says like Psycho, or The Birds for Hitchcock, but not a lot of people say Jamaica Inn or 39 Steps or something else, right? For William Friedkin, who hasn't done a ton of movies, I mean, The Sorcerer really would be that second level, but it's still going to be pretty interesting to talk about. I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, I had a thumbnail of it, so I was going to show. Hold on a second. I wonder what I do with it. Oh, well. Oh, there it is. I found it. Here you go. Let's load it here. Get it going. Yeah, if you've never seen The Sorcerer, it is a very good movie. Very dirty, disgusting. And it's something that everyone should watch at least once. Nerve-wracking suspense. And of course, we got, Everett Roache. I think he's also wrote that too. Was part of part.
Okay. This is like Speed, but without the laughs.
It's a suspense like Poltergeist too, man.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they're crossing a raging river on a suspension bridge, and not everybody's gonna make it through. You know that, and it's leaning to the right and stuff. Here's one of the posters, and the boards are breaking through and stuff, and they're trying to get out. And and here's the thing about this movie: half the people that crew worked on this had to be sent home. They're filming this in South America. They got injured or some had gangrene. Yep. And they continue. And then when it looks at these characters, like, because you got Roy Schneider in there, stuff and all, when they look like they're tired and it's not makeup, they actually hadn't slept for 3 days.
Yeah, the one thing I will tell you about this movie, if you're a music fan like I am of certain things like that, Tangerine Dream, very ambient kind of music they did.
Yes,
a lot of stuff. The soundtrack will be phenomenal in this as well.
Yeah, but it said, Roy, yeah. in order to basically the whole plot of this movie, and I'll just say real quickly a synopsis for this movie is that these guys are looking to seek become legal citizenship because they're all illegals hiding in here, and they're going to be paid also the $10,000 if they can transport these nitric acid, which is cases of dynamite, in these trucks from point A to point B. Trying to get in there without well, remember it's unstable because you can hit one and a rocket, boom, if you shake it. And it's just like nerve wracking. And they have a map. It's constantly raining, so they can barely see. So if they're following this path, how quickly things get flooded, and they cross these little bridges, and the tensions. There's 5 guys, and Roy Schneider pretty much wants to basically do things the correct way, but one guy is like, well, we're not going to go down that path. It's not on the map. He's like, I ain't crossing a freaking river in this thing. You crazy. And they in this tension. And everyone talks about this movie now. They said, like, if you want to watch a movie with Roy Schneider, there's only 2 movies to watch: Sorcerer and Jaws.
He's in 1 or 2 others where he's a dick. I just can't remember what they are.
No, but I mean, as far as his best movies.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah. They said, like, and it's a movie that at the time a lot of people did not like. Now directors, everything that visually said that they go back and look at. They said, like Tarantino said, it's a masterpiece. The way they did everything, it's just captures the human spirit, all this stuff, just everything as far as how it's filmed, as far as the rain, the muck, and all this stuff. So it looks so amazing. So I'm looking forward to this on Tuesday. Like I said, just like this, just to hear that, just that is enough. And then William Friedkin, who directed this. Yeah, I think he was involved. I think he's the one that was involved with Exorcist, wasn't it? William Friedkin?
Yeah, it's him.
Yeah, it's him, yeah. So you got the tension, and it just keeps it building and building and building. And it's just like, some people could, their reviews, some people said they couldn't, they got sick watching it, especially on the bridge, because it's just, it's just like swaying, the creaking, the noise. It just, you're nail biting, because you're like, because when you see this, oh, someone's going to go through. And you see tires breaking through the boards. There's even a scene in here where a guy put his leg down for traction so the truck could get moving. Oh, nasty. So
a lot of times the setup of something is just as important or more important than what the payoff is. The payoff can be okay as long as the setup is incredible.
Yeah.
But you can't make it up for a shitty setup. And so this movie's going to show us how well that can be done.
Yeah. So that'll be on Tuesday. We just want to thank you guys for being here. Click like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I got nothing else to say about Link other than go watch it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Good night now.
Later, guys. And